call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Batman.
What up? Welcome back once again to the Necro Zoo. I am Bones. And in this one, let's go ahead and add one more figure to my live action McFarlane DC Multiverse collection. Now we will continue the Flash movie wave. This time we will be taking a look at Barry #1 as the Flash. Now looking at the trailer and the images that have been shown for this costume design, it looks really interesting. It is a big departure from the way they did him in the Justice League, where he had kind of like that cobbled together armored suit, and now it's more of like a streamlined superhero costume version. But it does look rather interesting. A lot of the images from the trailer make this suit look really awesome, but we will have to wait and see the film to get a final decision. Now this guy actually looks pretty empowered in the packaging, but let's go ahead and take a closer look at it. But first, he does come with your standard black DC Multiverse stand. Now of course these are not really needed, but sometimes they do come in useful. He also comes with his data file card. Once again, you have one of those comic book styled images of the movie character. Looks pretty clean. And on the back you do have some information. Now this card does talk a little bit more about the occurrences in the movie and where they're actually going with this Barry Allen Flash character. Pretty cool. Add that to the collection. He does come with some accessories. Per McFarlane Speedster figures, he comes with some effects. These are the two longer ones. Now they are not exactly mirrored. They are different, but they look like they do connect to the same part of the body. And then of course you have these two shorter ones that also are not exactly the same, but they do match. I guess these would go like on the arms or the forearms. I don't really use these. I do have a box full of these effects now, and they rarely get used, but you never know. We do sometimes want to take some figure photography or do some stop motion, and then those effects do come in useful. But let's go ahead and take a closer look at them. Now, first impressions, I do honestly have to say I'm kind of torn between this figure because I mean, it's cool we're getting a new updated version of the Flash suit in a sort of cinematic, style. And it does look good, I have to say. But aside from the controversy with the actor and all that, I mean, I'm just going to take this as a Flash figure. No big deal. It does look good, has a lot of nice little textures and added details. There are some interesting little details that I'll point out later on, but we don't really know like how they work unless we watch the film. So once we see the film, I'm pretty sure a lot of these little things will kind of make sense after we know why they are on the suit. But it does look really nice. It is a more sleek, kind of slimmed down version of Barry Allen from live action as the Flash. It has a sort of gloss to it, which of course is in the trailer, where it's like really shiny and has kind of two different parts. You have like accented gold parts, kind of like referencing the boots and the belt, but you also have like light that kind of shines through the costume. I'm pretty sure we'll understand it more once we know everything that is in the film. Now taking a look at the head sculpt, it's pretty nice. Once again, they kind of did the skin tone in just one color, and it's really light. I think even like trying to film it, the skin just, captures the light, and it kind of glows because there's like no accent or no lighter or darker tones of color to like break it up. So we will be looking into like giving it a wash. But for what it is really cool. I love the suit design. It has, like I said, a lot of cool accents, and kind of you could tell where he took the armored cowl from his original Flash suit and just made it, you know, a little bit more refined and more like just a basic superhero costume. But all in all, I do like it. Now, the jawline looks a little bit wide. You can fix this by just heating it up and pressing, you know, the jaw together. So it makes, you know, makes it look a little bit more gaunt. But if you do see the images, like certain images from the trailer, he does have, like, you could really see that jaw, you know, sticking out under the costume. So I think that's what they tried to match here. But all in all, really nice head sculpt. Let's take a look at the articulation. Of course, he does look down very well. Interestingly enough, he looks up super high. I mean, for running poses, this is going to be awesome. I love the range. Without any modifications, he has a lot of ability to look up. You got right to left. And of course, you could tilt his head for some character. So all in all, pretty cool head sculpt. We will do some little changes, you know, per usual for my reviews, as I like to add my own little touches. But for what it is a pretty nice head sculpt. Now, moving down, I want to take a quick look at the emblem. It is sculpted in and embossed, which is cool. But you also have this like design lines, like little trenching where all that energy goes through in the suit, which I think they could have made it a brighter yellow, like a more like, I guess, kind of neon yellow. But for what it is, the simple costume, it works pretty well. Now the costume altogether, from the torso down to the thighs, it has a really cool, like, put together feel. Like, there's not that much gapping, and it like fits together seamlessly. So I do enjoy that. Let's check out the waist articulation. You do have side to side at the waist. You have that full tilt-a-whirl at the midsection. You have a lower waist swivel, upper chest swivel, and you can twist them, get them in some cool action poses. Now, as far as crunch, he actually does have a really good crunch, and this is without even pushing him down. You could tell where the upper torso wants to actually hit the top of the waist. So that's pretty nice, especially for running poses. And of course, he can lean back very well. All in all, happy with that articulation. Let's take a look at the shoulder joint. You do have that socket and bushing McFarlane shoulder joint. Got a lot of range there. Pretty cool movement. You do have up and down, front to back, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, which actually look pretty nice. And then moving from the shoulder down to the elbow, you have some cool design and texture in the suit. And then moving down into a sculpted wrist joint, it just cuts a seamless silhouette. Really, really good execution of this figure. Now, here's the first thing I noticed was he has like a crazy disc, like some kind of disc or something under the suit, or that has to do with the suit. They do show in the trailer the flash ring where the suit is supposed to pop out of in the comics. So I'm not sure if this has something to do with that. But if you go to the other side, he does have one on the other side as well. And then of course you have these open, kind of running, kind of gesturing hands, just like straight off, which is always nice. And then of course at the wrists, you do have that cool 4 ways of articulation from McFarlane. Get him in a pretty easy T-pose. Can move a little bit higher, but not too much. Move his arms above his head. And then they do have these cutouts where you could get his hands right in front of him. Pretty nice. Let's go down to the thighs. Check out his thigh swivel. Wow, this guy really has nice thigh swivel. I mean, this is pretty much some of the most thigh swivel I've seen recently. I mean, they usually all have something, but this one gets really a lot of range there, a lot of twist at the hip. So of course that means you can move his foot from side to side without having a thigh cut. And actually this is like the perfect example of what McFarlane's hip articulation can be when you get that full range and really move that foot and move that hip without having an ugly looking thigh cut. And like a thigh cut here on this suit would just break up the sculpt and make it look really bad. So I'm glad that he does have all that range. Of course, he can kick up pretty high and then kick back as well. Now, as always, do not be afraid to push the rubber trunks. That is what they are made for. It kind of irks me a little when I see people review these McFarlane figures and they just push back the leg and say, well, that's it. That's all you're going to get, when actually you can push it back all the way and get a lot more movement there. But maybe they just don't know that that's what the rubber trunks are for, is to give you more articulation. And do not be afraid, because when you put them back, they go back to their original shape eventually. You can cock out that knee, has that cool McFarlane hip rotation, double jointed knees, straighten them out. You do have up and down at that sculpted ankle joint, right to left, rocker, and of course toe articulation. Now before we go, let's take a complete look at the lower body. Tons of sculpted detail, beautiful boot design. Now these boots look really awesome in the trailer, and I could see where they kind of wanted to reflect that here, kind of have a sort of athletic running shoe style, but mixed with that sculpt work that goes up to above the calves. Pretty awesome suit design. And I like the gold that they use. Could have been a little bit more shinier, but for, you know, this figure, it's fine. Take a look at him from the bottom. He does have some pretty nice side tread and some identifying marks. Moving up the back, on the back of his heels, you can see he has like this modification, I guess, so he could make stops, you know, a lot tighter. In case he wants to like screech forward, he has these little adapters to brake. And then moving up, more sculpt work, pretty nice. You got the back of that golden belt up into the back that has some crazy design there. You can see it on the suit. And then he has like these little kind of little nodules on his back that even go up into the neck. Love the design, the way it goes up the neck under the hood or mask. Really nice Flash figure. You know, it's just, didn't really expect much from this one, but I guess we'll see how we feel once we see the movie. So all in all, it is a really nice Flash figure. Now you can get him in crazy poses, crazy running poses, crazy squatted down poses. So that is always highly appreciated for Flash figures. Now before we go, let's go ahead and bring out the old school Justice League Barry Allen Flash. Now this is my custom version where I actually painted in tons of detail that were missing. All the little like designs, like the little white sort of connectors that he had, and any other little gold details I added in. But kind of still holds up. He is a slight bit shorter actually than this new Flash version. And then let's go ahead and bring out Barry Allen number 2 from this newer Flash movie. He has that crazy modified Batman Returns suit. Like him a little bit better than when I reviewed him. Still not one of my favorite figures or very interesting to me, but I do kind of see a little, I want to say the uniqueness that he has is kind of growing on me. And then these three together, of course, look really nice. Now, I had finished this review and I was like, I'm done. And I was about to start working on editing it. And then I thought, you know what? I forgot a complete detail from the trailer. First of all, I wanted to do a wash on the face. Now, it's kind of hard to tell, but this is the best way I can explain it, and that is that if you see the first image, it's the regular skin tone that he came with, and you could see the shine on his chest and the shine like right on his helmet, and it's the same light. I didn't change the lighting or anything, but the way the light shines off of his face just doesn't give you any detail or anything, any shadows, because it's just so pale that it reflects the light right away. Now I did the little wash technique that gives him a little bit more, depth and darkness under the chin, even on the side of his jaw, around the nose and above the lip. And when I went back and turned on the camera and got the same footage, now you can actually see all the details because the light doesn't bounce off of it so easily, because now it has a little bit, darker tone to the face. Another thing is, once I did this, I could pretty much say that that's almost like a very realistic version of Ezra Miller, the head sculpt. So where I did the Batfleck Batman, where at first it didn't look like Affleck at all, and then after I did the repaint, it brought out a little bit of that where you could see it. This one did the same thing. Once I did the wash, it kind of almost looks like a live action shot, but no, it is the figure, but you could just see it a little bit better. Now I didn't do the eyes. I really wish I would have, but the reason I didn't is because I remembered another detail from the trailer, and that was that he has like lenses that come out, around his eyes, like in his actual helmet, the lenses pop up. So I kind of wanted to add that. Now, of course, I have my own little methods of making transparent little lenses. I did that with one of my Peacemakers, where he has that X-ray vision. So it took me a while, and I had to shape them exactly, but they are only like stuck inside the pit of the eyes. So it's like holding itself in there at the top and the bottom, and then it's pushed in. So whenever I want, I can actually just pop these out, as long as I don't lose them, because they are easy to lose. But what it does is give you that kind of look from the trailer where he has the lenses down in his suit. So I thought that was a pretty nice little detail that I could add to him, just to give him, that little bit of spice to bring something out of this figure. But pretty happy with him. Pretty cool. He's going to go up there on the live action show. He does look good, as I said, for a Flash version. Of course, we'll still have to see the movie and see how that goes, and if our opinions change after that. But you guys keep hunting out there, keep collecting, keep customizing, and I will see you on the next one.
They used to call me Crazy Joe, but now they can call me Batman.